Hi, it's Jenny from Missouri Star Quilt Company. We've got a fun tutorial for you today. This is one that's been asked for, and we're going to teach you how to do the scallop edging on the edge of a quilt. This is the ruler I use. There are lots of rulers out there. They're all probably fine. This is just the one I use. We have it available here in the shop. It's from Quilt in a Day. And what I like about it is that it can help you do vines, the wavy border, or the scallops. So it's 3 different uses. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is measure our quilt. We have this darling little quilt. This is made with 3 charm packs from Rural Jardin. And I hope I said that right. I'm not French, you know. But this is an adorable quilt. We have a small border on it, and we're going to scallop the edges. So when you open up this ruler, you get a little book inside. And the book is really helpful because it gives you all kinds of information and tells you exactly how to do it. It just takes you through it step by step. And so we're going to go over here to the part on the scalloping. And this is the table that you use. So the first thing we do is we measure our quilt. This quilt measures 60 inches by 52 inches. The next thing it tells you to do is to subtract 4 inches from each measurement, and you don't have to remember that because it's in the book. So when you get your new measurement, which 60 from 4 is 56, you just go down the side of this table right here, and when you get to 56, it tells me that I can do 7 8-inch scallops. So it's like set out for you, so it makes it really easy. Now let me show you how we mark that. The first thing you're going to do now is you're going to draw a diagonal line on your corners. And you just do this from the corner to the edge of your block. You're going to draw a diagonal line. I just go ahead and do it in pencil. There's your line right there, and you do that on all the corners. Then you're going to take your scalloping template, and right here you can see it says scallop line up with the edge of the quilt. So you put this line right on the very edge of your quilt. Now remember, it said we were going to have 8-inch scallops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little piece of, this is a Post-it note, but you can use painter's tape to help me remember where my 8-inch scallops are. Right there. And then we're going to put this corner of this 8-inch right here, even it on the top, and then right to the edge of this scallop. And what this is going to do is give you the nice curve for the corner. So then we're going to go along here, and you can mark it with a pencil or you can pin it every 8 inches. I like to do this before I draw it out to make sure that it fits. If there's any discrepancy in your placement, it's easiest to come in from the edges and make up that little difference in the middle. So we're just going to pin along here on the 8s and see how it works out here. There we go. All right, so there's another one. I'm pretty sure this is going to go all the way over to the edge. Let me grab some pins here. All right, here we go. Right here's our next one. And see how we just put that, use that little edging of that tape on there. And what's so easy is that it just tells you in the book how many you need. You don't have to figure it out. You know, I used to use half a plate or a cup, but you just never know if that's going to work out perfectly. And this just works out perfectly. So there we are at the 8. And see how it just comes right to the edge of this. This is our corner again. Oops, got to line it up here on the top. Don't forget that. And it's going to go right there. So now what we're going to do is we go back. Because we know this is going to fit, we're going to go back like this. And we're going to line it up again using our pin marks and our edge marks. And we're going to draw in that line. And now remember, you do this all after your quilt is quilted and ready to go. And then we're going to draw this all along here and see how that scallop is taking place now. Make sure your line stays lined up on the edge. And this is the only, or one of the few edges that you actually really need bias binding for, because when it goes around a curve, you want that bias so that it can bend and it doesn't have the folds in it. It'll just lay really easily. All right, we've got the whole side done here. And we're over to our diagonal line. And then we're going to come around this corner, and we're still keeping our line even with the top. We're going to come around the corner, and we're going to line it up with this. I'm going to take that off right here. See where this line is? We move this so that the 8-inch is right there matched with that line. Pull this up. There we go. You just got to get those lines right. You want a nice corner. And then you can draw it in. And then now before you want to go down this line, you want to do the same thing and mark your 8 inches all the way along here. For the use of this, we're going to go ahead and trim this out and show you how that looks. So hang on just a sec. So I just finished all the tracing, and as you noticed, I used a regular number 2 charcoal pencil. Not generally the best thing to use on your fabric, but it shows up well for the camera. But I wanted to show you some of the things we have available at this shop. We've got some great marking pencils. This is one of those fun ones that you can carry that has the different leads and these kind of things. These are generally better. They wash out very well and very quickly, but we need it to show up for the camera. So now we're going to trim it out. And this is sometimes a scary thing for people because you're trimming on your finished quilt, but it's necessary. So we just come right along this line right here. And we're just going to trim this out right to the edges. And you can see the scallop taking shape. Isn't this going to be darling? Once you know the size of those scallops, you can just go ahead and mark all the way around. Okay, so we're going to finish cutting this, and I will show you how to put on that bias binding. Okay, so here we are at the corner, and we're just going to go ahead and trim right around this corner here. The middle of your scallop should hit this diagonal line, and if it has a little bit of a peak, you just want to round that off so you have a nice corner. Let me turn this so I can get to it with my left hand there. We're just going to come right around there. You clip up to those edges. There we go. Keep going all the way around till it's all trimmed. Okay, so we made this binding using the continuous binding method for the bias. We've ironed it in half. It's just a 2.5-inch strip, and we ironed it in half. And I like to start my binding on a scalloped edge, someplace inconspicuous, so I wouldn't start on the corner, but I'd start it kind of in the middle here, and you just put it on like normal. So we're going to slide it under this foot, and you're just, because the bias binding has a pull to it, it moves a little easier, you can just move it around these curves, and I just want to show you, I don't do any tucking on these curves. What I do is I get down here, I kind of let my needle be in the down position, I lift up my foot, and I'm going to turn the whole quilt and then just pull that bias around it. So I don't do any tucking or anything like that. We're going to go around this corner, and I'll show you that little tuck again. The corners are so easy because, you know, the bias binding has give to it, so it just makes it easy to slide around that corner. There we go. Now we're coming to one of those little dips again. And I'll show you how we do that. And I even have a little seam right there, so you get to see it at its worst, which isn't bad at all. So we go right to where it dips in. You're going to leave your needle down. I'm going to turn my quilt, and then I'm just going to pull this bias right on around. So there's no stopping and turning or making a corner. We're just going to keep going around, and we just we just pull it through. And then I'll show you what happens when we're going to bring this bias around to the back. Let me show you that real quick here. I'm going to take this out of the sewing machine. Now you see, by pulling this, when we go around, you just pull it around and go around. So then when you go to turn it under, you're going to have, it's just going to make its own little crease right there. And all you do is bring it around to the back, and generally, see where this V is right here? I clip in here to this V, so it just gives it a little more movement. So we're just like that. And then I'll just bring this around here, and I even stitch it on just straight like that, because when it relaxes, it makes its own little fold. So that should take the mystery out of this scallop binding for you. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial from the Missouri Star Quilt Company.